All right, man. Peace. So we're on part three of the NFL protest, the building to a crescendo. I believe that they are going to resolve this issue within the next few weeks. It's probably going to be very tumultuous and may carry into the offseason. Who knows? They may bring back Kaepernick as a propitiation to the NFL players. Let's see what happens in this narrative and in this little bit of theater here. Anyway, Shannon Sharpe is in the midst of one of his societal breakdowns. Let's see what else he has to say.
No, he's not. So
I don't think so, but Jerry's pretty strong-willed himself.
well, let's see.
Okay, let's see.
I do not believe Jerry Jones is forfeiting those games. Now, what he's trying to do, he's like, you will stand, and if you don't stand, you're going to take a knee. Because what we've seen pockets of that. We haven't seen anything like San Francisco, where 20 guys are kneeling, or we haven't seen anything like Seattle. Now, now, if Paul Allen were to say, you will do this, I think this is the one team that would absolutely buck. Mm-hmm. And Richard Sherman and Bennett and all those guys would take a knee. So I do not believe, I don't take Jerry at his word. I believe if one guy were to do it, yeah, he would sit him out.
Okay, well, let's do the hypothetical. I'm going to put you and Jerry on the hottest seat.
Okay.
What if Dak and Zeke decide, let's throw Dez in there. Dez, Dak, and Zeke decide before the game, the three of us have to kneel together, arms locked. What do you think happens?
Skip, you speaking
it's a decree now. He has decreed multiple times publicly, as Jerry Jones, you will not play.
Look, man, this is why the NFL has to resolve this issue, because this is turning into a soap opera. It's like, it's starting to look like women talking about what's going to happen next on The Young and the Restless. What happens if Dak and Zeke and Dez hold arms? This is nonsense right now. So Goodell and the owners, they have to do something about this if they want their business to continue on to be as successful as they want it to be. This is the type of thing that it's not going to cripple the NFL immediately, but over the course of 15 to 20 years, if the NFL does go under, this will be looked at as the seminal event that precipitated its downfall, because they did not nip this in the bud right away.
Although I would like to see this happen, I don't know if you could have picked three worse guys for this cause. Zeke is already up against it. He's in no situation.
I got it.
And Dez Bryant, we already know what Dez thinks of Jerry. So we already know.
You mean that he loves it?
He loves it.
Like a father.
He already knows. So we already know he's company. And Zeke,
Dak is the face of the franchise and always says and does the right thing. But I'm going to an extreme example here.
Yes.
Ain't no way in the hell Dak is going to do that. Dak is his own man. Dak is extremely strong-minded, and he's not a follower. Okay? All this shit is another attempt to try to coax and and try to force the so-called black man to succumb to peer pressure. And peer pressure comes in many different ways. It's not just about trying to make you do drugs or join a gang. This is another attempt to make the so-called black man join a gang, which is the woke gang. Right? And you see it all the time. If you're not woke, you're a coon, you're this and you're that. By a bunch of simple ass niggas who cannot, a lot of these guys can barely tie their own damn shoes and chew gum at the same time. But they're going to tell you about how you're a coon and you're this and you're that if you don't want to get down on one knee and beg the white man to save you. The fuck out of here.
If that happens, and by the way, I want you to understand, me, because I slept on this and thought hard about it.
Yes.
Yeah, you slept with your dog.
Yes.
My heart would be with all three if they decided to do that.
I need 20.
I'd be good.
I want to see, because he might even set them to try to prove a point. I need 25 or 30 of them. I need, because there's only 46 active for the day. So I need 25 or 30 of them, because I want to see what he really going to do. That's what I want to see. But here's the thing now. You notice they did not have, because this has been going on. They started kneeling and raising their fists and taking a seat last year. And no owner had instituted policy about this. The policy didn't come until President Trump said what he said about 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, sir. That's what I've been saying. None of this shit is real. It's all predicated off of what President Trump said. So basically, it's just a white man making niggas do what he wants them to do.
My grandmother used to always say, boy, when you make a deal with the devil, you never know when he's going to come for your soul. At some point in time, he's going to come for you, owners. Right now, he's coming for the players.
Yeah, he's already coming for him, Shannon. That's why Jerry Jones said what he said, bro. Because he's already let the owners know, look, you didn't let me buy into the NFL a few years ago when I wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills. Now you're letting these niggas run amok. So I'm gonna put it to you like this: you're gonna correct these niggas, or I'm going to fuck with your taxes in a big way. All right, I'm gonna have my auditors, up your ass so bad. You're gonna have paperwork coming out your mouth.
And that serves you very well because a lot of the public is on your side with this flag, this anthem, and this country. But some point, you got to pay off this debt. You making this deal with the devil, he's coming back. Are you going to be ready for when he comes back and what he asks?
Okay, I got it. I don't want to put too much onus and pressure and responsibility on the players, but they have been called out now by the president and by Jerry Jones as the lead owner. And I think he's trying to set the tone for all 30 other owners, right?
Do I believe that every owner wanted to lock the players out in 2011? I do not. But guess what they did? They banded together. And it says, okay, one for one and one for all. This is for the betterment of us. This wasn't no betterment of the league because that's why they signed the contract extension.
Yeah, because the owners believe that they are the league, Shannon. But once again, they can lock out players because they have billions of dollars in their coffers, brother. All right? These players are not going to endure a lockout for no fucking Colin Kaepernick and that kneeling shit. And it's easy for you to sit on TV and talk that bullshit because you're getting a check from Fox.
In 2000, I think it was 2007, 2008, but they prorated it until they got a bigger share of the revenue. You see what they did, Skip? Now, they negotiated a contract, but we want you to go in effect 5 years later so we get a bigger slice of the pie. I saw what they did. Skip, if I'm the players, I'm not conceding on this.
Okay, so again, I'm going to keep it with the Cowboys just for now. Back to John Wooten's point. So every Dallas Cowboy right now has to think about, what will I tell my kids when they ask, how did you guys react to this back in 2017? Your grandkids. How did you react way back when your owner said, you will not play? Well, we decided to stand.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. Because you have to take into consideration the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
That's why you should never have knelt in the first place. All right. See, when you don't follow people, you never have to worry about the repercussions of having to explain to anybody, your children, your loved ones, your significant other, anyone. When you do what comes natural, you never have to explain to somebody why you did what you did in order to conform, if you never conformed in the first place. When you understand what the so-called national anthem is about, all that is a representation of the corporation of America. Every country on the planet is a corporation because they're all beholden to the international banks. That's it. That's why all these countries use paper money. Okay? So all the national anthem represents, it's like, it's just like a zone song. This is the song for this zone. This is the flag that represents this zone. That's it. All right? And America has some sub-corporations like Guam, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, so on and so forth. It's not something to get wrapped up in emotionally. But when you are in someone else's house, you respect the protocols of their house. All right? When Daniel was in Babylon, he didn't go back and forth arguing with Nebuchadnezzar. All right? When Moses was in Egypt, he didn't argue with Pharaoh. When he decided that he didn't like the ways of Egypt, he left. And he came back and he brought his people out with him. He didn't say, Pharaoh, we're gonna petition until you treat us better. He said, let my people go. That's what the Most High said. Same thing with Daniel. Right? Daniel was one of the great men of the Most High. But he also was a servant to Nebuchadnezzar and, his grandson Belshazzar. I mean, it is what it is. It's not that difficult to figure out. Now, when you're self-defined and self-validated, you never have to explain to anyone else why you decided to change who you were. Right? Just be who you are. Daniel never bowed before the idols of Babylon. Right? And because of his faith, he lived. So that's what this is really all about. People are trying to create this framework of why did you bow? Why didn't you bow? Why did you kneel? Why didn't you kneel? All this nonsense. Right? Just understand who you are and, look upward and not downward. Don't put men up as an idol. The so-called black man has allowed the white man to become his idol. He put him on a pedestal and he's looking for his validation. And this is why all this confusion is occurring.
You're all part of what I call the golden goose, right?
Yes.
It's the greatest league in this country. And it benefits
Yes, that's why it's been targeted for termination by the anarchist Black Lesbians Matter movement.
everybody who's a part of it, including the football players.
Absolutely,
Right?
yes.
Okay. It puts you on the map.
Yes.
Put you in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
It
It
gave-
made you a good bit of money.
It gave me a life I would have never enjoyed
Correct.
had I not played it.
Okay,
I was able
thank
to put my kids through school. I was
Okay.
able to take care of my grandmother, my
Okay.
sister, my mom.
So everybody now has to think, have we done enough? If we continue to kneel, will it help our cause that much more to the point that we do want to threaten the quote-unquote golden goose? Do we want to threaten our ability as football teams to win football games? Because it can be, as you know, it can fracture a football team.
Yes.
Yeah, do you want to cut off your nose to spite your face? Look at what's happening with Pittsburgh, man. That whole issue with their offensive lineman, Villanueva, that shit was so ridiculous, man. Because the coach of Pittsburgh wants to bring everybody into the locker room. You have a guy who fought in a war for America who wants to stand before the national anthem, and they're castigating him. Like, I mean, this is such a fucking shit show.
As we've seen happen to
Yes.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it could fracture the Cowboys. If they're really split on this, and they have internal clashing over this all the way up to kickoff at San Francisco, could they lose that game because they're split? Sure they could. Okay? So do you want to risk that? Or do you want to take, like, I still can't believe nobody talks about the NBA. Their commissioner stood up the first day and said, we will all stand. Period. End of story. First preseason game was played by the defending champ Golden State Warriors. After the game, they're all asked, are you okay with what the commissioner said? Yeah, we're good. You are, really. So as a
Yes, because they've been allowed to do whatever the hell they want to do for the longest time. They're not following after the NFL. The NFL once again is being used as a testing ground for a social engineering maneuver. All right, this is going to be kept within the NFL. It's not going to trickle over into the NBA because the NBA is already a woke league. The whole league is woke. This social engineering maneuver is being done on the NFL to try to turn them into a woke league like the NBA. Because once the NFL is woke, then they can be used as a tentacle for a lot of the super liberal elite intermediary organizations like Black Lives Matter. All right, the NBA been woke. That's why they that's why they wear those T-shirts, and they got guys like LeBron and everybody making all these statements. They don't need to kneel. They're trying to socially engineer the NFL
as a collective
or utilize the NFL for social engineering. Pardon me.
group, they have all decided Colin did what he did, lost his job over it, it had national impact, that's enough of that. We're going to find other ways
Yes.
to make our cases,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So they're saying that's enough of that. Should the NFL players say that's enough of that? Because I'm with you when you say you can't back down.
Right.
But can you back off and find a different avenue?
Well, maybe they're going to have to skip. Maybe you're going to have to look at it or say, you know what we do? How about this? Maybe we go find a couple of guys that spent 30, 40 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. Maybe we find somebody that was arrested, that was put in jail for a petty crime, and because he didn't have $200 to post bail, he didn't get out. Maybe we bring those guys and we have them come tell their story. Maybe if we have the women to come forward and tell their story, how they were equally or more so qualified than their male counterpart, and they didn't get the job, and they know they didn't get the job.
You see what Shannon did there? Once again, brothers, please, please, please understand this, man. This thing is not about you. You will never reap the benefits of these liberal movements. These liberal movements are really about the promotion of female empowerment and homosexual empowerment. Okay? This shit is not about you. You see what Shannon did there?
Because they were female. Maybe we're going to have to start putting faces. And I know Laquan McDonald, the guy that got shot 17 times, and Tamir Rice, and Alton Sterling, and Philando Castile, and Eric Gardner. I know there are a lot, Walter Scott, there are a lot of them. But those guys can't speak. Maybe we need to get some people. The young man that was in South Carolina, the officer asked him, could he get his license and proof of insurance, and he gets to go in his back pocket, and he shoots him 2 or 3 times. Maybe we need to have some people. Maybe we put names that can actually talk.
I like that.
So
that resonates.
Yes, but I still want the owner's influence.
The only thing that's going to prove is why we need our own system, bro. Why we need our own police force and our own land and everything else. That's all that's just gonna prove. That's not gonna make the Caucasians stop doing that. You think that they're not aware of those things already, brother?
Because here's the thing, and I've said this before: Dr. King sacrificed so much, but he reaped the least of the benefits because his life was cut out. And
no, sir. Dr. King's life was cut out because they were done with him. He was no longer necessary. Once they got that civil rights bill passed, the next step was to move on to the feminist movement and the homosexual movement, which occurred in the 70s, which was their main aim. They were done using the so-called black man as what he's normally used for in these liberal movements, which was as a pawn. Dr. King, as I've already stated, was the greatest pawn, maybe of all time, definitely of the 20th century. Those who are in the know, who really knew him and know what he was about as a person, know that he was nowhere near the angel that he was made out to be. Okay? Like I said, that man was the Harvey Weinstein of his day. I'll leave it at that.
And a lot of times, the people that sacrifice the most get the least in return. So you got to be willing to give up something. Cap probably gave up his NFL career for something that he believed in. And you talk about a fractured team, but right now we have a fractured country.
The country's been fractured since its inception, bro. So what really is your plan? Your plan is to antagonize the other side until they want to come together with you? Is that really conducive to building a positive relationship or rapport?
And I'm a firm believer. You do not have to serve the military. You do not have to lose your life or be a first responder police officer to be considered a patriot. If you want to make this country better than what it is, because remember, President Trump got office, came to power because he said what? He wanted to make America great again.
Well, if you want to make this country better, before Shannon goes into his spiel, I've already said this. First thing that you need to do is you need to eradicate the so-called Federal Reserve. Okay? You need to expunge the debt that has been accrued by every so-called American citizen. You have to return the monetary system to the gold and silver standard. You have to give people back the right of ownership of land. Okay? And a loyal title. These are things that need to be done if you want to truly liberate the people, if that's truly your concern. Everything else is just gobbledygook and balderdash.
So if you want to make it great again, you're saying at the time currently, it is not great. So if you are about change and you want to make America what the flag, the symbol supposedly represent in this anthem, and what America is, if you want to make it better, you should be deemed a patriot. And that's what these players, Colin Kaepernick and so many others before Cap, were trying to do.
No, sir. Colin Kaepernick is not a patriot. Colin Kaepernick is an anarchist. He's already on record as stating that he does not believe in the American system. Once again, he's a communist. He does not believe in quote unquote capitalism. He doesn't even particularly believe in free enterprise. What he is a communist and an anarchist. He's more concerned with the empowerment of females who have already been empowered over the black man more than anything else, just as much as he is of the empowerment of so-called black men. They don't mind black men. They don't mind speaking up for black men as long as black men understand their place. That is the position of most of these feminists. They will use the black man as a shield and as a cavalry, as an infantry to lead the war and take the most casualties so that they can come in on the back end and reap the benefits. That's all it's about.
Are trying to do. And they're not unpatriotic, because when you try to make something better, when you try to make the country that you live in a better place, that is the most patriotic thing that you can do.
I got it.
Well, the most patriotic thing that you can do is to know your real history and try to establish your own. Okay? You can't run around trying to promote narratives about what America promised black people. America has never promised us anything. This is not our rest. We're behind enemy lines. So everything that Shannon is stating, no disrespect, is based off of pretense. If our people have been in a certain condition, as he himself has attested to, as he himself has claimed for 400 years, these are his claims. Why do you believe that things are going to change now? After a certain period of time, you have to have your own. You have to do your own. You have to be self-defined.
From this chair, I'm starting to lose perspective on Are the black players still protesting police brutality, racial inequality, or are they just protesting what the president did to them? Because
Thank you, sir. You see, every once in a while, Skip Skip lets it out what he really thinks and what he really understands. Because most of this is bullshit.
I told you this the first day. He effectively declared war on the players.
Yes.
And he didn't just double down, he's tripled, quadrupled down.
Right.
Yes, and he declared war as a representative of the vast majority of American citizens, because the vast majority of American citizens are against these protests. All right, this is known already, as was shown by the reaction and the response to the players holding and locking arms in Green Bay and in many other stadiums in Arizona when the Cowboys did it. These fans do not like it. Period.
It's a daily Twitter assault on the players.
It's become one and the same now.
Yeah, and obviously, I think it's a shrewd play on his part.
Absolutely.
Because it will help rebuild some of his popularity with his constituents.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
And that's what
I'm fighting for the flag.
That's what I've been saying for the last 3 months. Y'all just figuring it out?
And I told you, Skip, remember I said you got to be careful. I said he's trying to play the shell game.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the shell that you really need to see is right here.
Okay.
But he's moving these other two shells all around to get you talking about, we fighting against President Trump. He's a part of the problem, but the main issue came to power before he even stepped in office.
Well, also him attacking the players diminishes inherently what it is that they were protesting about, because
It does.
him calling them outside of their name is basically obviously dehumanizing them, but also
Yes, it is. And that's the point. That's how they're viewed. The so-called black man is not viewed as a human being. I have noted this numerous times before. I mentioned this in regards to the way that the black athlete is spoken about by people like Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman. The black man is not viewed as a human being, as somebody who feels pain. Okay? Your pain is not something that's reckoned. They don't care about your feelings, so-called black man. That's why you have to care about yourself, and you have to care about the next black man next to you. All right? That's what the implementation of brotherhood is about. But you can't have that. You can't have any of that until you have culture, until you have your own. As long as you're on somebody else's land and somebody else's property and somebody else's kingdom, we're never going to have that. So this kingdom is in its last stages, and it has to be extinguished. There's going to be a transition of power. And let me say this, the elite Caucasians, they have actual historical records, and they understand what the circumstances were of the transition over into the current situation that we're in now. All right. Knowledge of history is essential to knowing why you're in the condition that you're in now and how to get back into an advantageous position. They have the black man in a mode, in a framework, a mental framework where he wants to beg for approval and acceptance. And this is how you know that they have the so-called black man right where they want him. Okay. It's not about him trying to figure out how to reconnect back with his power source, that being the Most High. All these black men in the NFL, I mean, these guys are just being used for their brute force and for their brute strength. So of course he's going to refer to them as dogs. That's what you use a dog for. You use a dog for its strength and for its for its gifts, its sense of smell, and for its ability to entertain you. That's why he called them sons of bitches. He's also calling a black woman a bitch. Right? When you use a term like that, that's a way to say that you have no honor, that he doesn't respect you as a human being. But that's not anything that's independent of him. As I've already stated, Skip Bayless, Max Kellerman, they have used certain phraseology to imply that they have the same perception of the so-called black man. So once again, it all goes back to you. Stop looking to other people to verify, validate, substantiate, define who you are as a person. That's why cats begin so emotionally moved by all this silly shit.
also saying what they're doing is irrelevant anyway because they're being disrespectful to the flag. The NFL Network just reported that the Cowboys did have a team meeting about the anthem protests and Jerry's comments. There's been no outcome from it yet, but The players did have a team meeting.
Was it players only?
I believe it was players only.
Is hold on. Has the president or has anybody commented on what transpired in Charlottesville this week? Now, this
No,
is the second
yeah.
time.
But we know a big underlying issue with President Trump is that he is a grudge holder, and when you come for him, he's going to respond. And
Absolutely. That's why I've already said, look, he's going to come for LeBron James soon enough. LeBron going to keep throwing rocks at that man, the back of that man's head, and that man's going to turn around, and he's going to give LeBron what he think he want. And that's going to be very entertaining. So watch out for that.
And then you remember he did try to buy an NFL team.
Especially if the Cleveland Cavaliers end up to not be as good as LeBron would want them to be. Watch out for LeBron to turn his attention to Trump, especially if he doesn't think that his team has a chance to win a championship this year. LeBron's going to try to promote or push a storyline regarding him versus Trump.
Team, and they told him no, so he does have a grudge with the NFL. And the bigger picture, though, for me, is him demanding this of the owners and of the players is direct influence from the government on free speech. So if this ends up happening, we are literally handing over the First Amendment to the president.
No, that's not true at all. Really what he's trying to do is he's trying to give corporate advice to them. He's not trying to infringe on their quote-unquote free speech at all. What he's telling the owners is, look, I have the power to impact you in regards to your tax breaks. I'm getting notification from millions and millions of American citizens that they do not like what's going on in the NFL. I don't like it. If you guys don't do something about it, this is what's going to happen to you. I advise you to do this to them. This is what I would do if I was in charge. That's all he has said. Of course, we know that has implications. Whenever you threaten somebody's bottom line, which is their money, it's going to have implications on what's going to occur. But no, he has not. They love to pull the free speech card. Everybody knows you work in corporate America. There's certain things that you can't say. You can't look at a woman with a fat ass and say, "God damn, you have a fat ass." And if she says, "Oh, well, wait a minute, that's sexual harassment," you can't turn back and say, "No, it's not. I have the right to free speech." Yeah, you have the right to get fired too. Okay. But once again, when you're dealing with these people with this liberal philosophy, they think that they should be able to say and do whatever they want, and you can't say anything back. The same thing with these females and this nonsense about Trump's new provisions against providing coverage for abortions and things of that nature. Suddenly, that is infringing upon their rights as a woman. No, you have the right to keep your legs closed.
It's bigger picture. Forget the NFL and the protests and everything else that's happening. Bigger picture. That's where you mentioned the deal with the devil. That's what that deal is.
Yeah, you know history. It starts out as small. Government start requesting things as small. You're like, okay, we give that up. And the next thing you know, authoritative, and you've given up everything.
Well, starting with...
Yeah, that's where it's going to start, Shannon. It's going to start in the NFL. Give me a fucking break, man.
Starting with the billionaires, so for the rest. Should the Patriots be...
Look, I'm going to continue this video